the desert's news leader, this is Breaking News.
Hello, I'm Karen Devine. We begin tonight with breaking news right out of the gate. We have news in the Pinyon Pines triple murder trial tonight. Robert Pape and Cranston Smith both sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2006 murders of Becky Friedley, Vicky Friedley, and John Hayward. News Channel 3's Jake Ingracia is live in Riverside tonight as the sentence was announced less than an hour ago. And Jake, boy, a day full of emotion in that courtroom.
Yeah, Karen, emotions in that courtroom running very high on both sides. We heard testimony today from dozens of people, family members of the victims of Vicky and Becky Friedley, as well as John Hayward, Vicky's boyfriend, all who were murdered, all extremely emotional, saying this day has been 12 years in the making. However, nothing can bring back their family members, even though they feel that justice was served with that sentence being served. And then on the other side of the aisle, we heard also about a dozen people coming up to the podium, speaking on behalf of both Pape and Smith, saying that these are honorable men. Smith is a military man. There's no way that these men could have done the crime that they were convicted of. And following all of that emotional testimony from the family members, Pape and Smith taking the podium themselves.
I feel no shame, and I feel no remorse, because I didn't take your loved ones from you. No matter how badly the DA wants me to be a scapegoat, the fact is that I am innocent, and I didn't commit these crimes, and that will never change. What I do feel is pity and sadness, not only for what's happened to your family, but because you still don't know who really did this.
It's easy to make mistakes. As humans, I believe it's actually a defining characteristic. To err may be to be human, but I believe that's just our opportunity to admit to and correct those mistakes. Without a doubt, a mistake was made. And until that is realized, until that's corrected, until justice is served, I'll be waiting to hold you again. I love you.
Yeah, and you can hear the emotion there in his voice. It was incredibly, incredibly tense to be in that courtroom and to see family members on both sides of it, tearing up and trying to defend their loved ones up against this judge, trying to make the case each for their own side of which way they wanted to see the sentence come down. And then in just the last hour or so, that sentence coming down, as you heard it there, life in prison without the possibility of parole for these men. Reporting live in Riverside, Jake Ingracia, News Channel 3.
And of course, both men maintaining their innocence, as you saw right there. That was tough to watch. The family members in the background, they have difference of opinion there. We did hear also on some of those tapes that an appeal may be happening. What do you know about that?
Karen, the family members of Pape and Smith are standing by those two sons of theirs and their family members, saying that they are going to fight this until the very end, until their boys are brought home.
Thank you, Jake. You've done a wonderful job out there today. Of course, as we said, a full day of emotion in court. Loved ones of the victims and the convicted killers pleading with the judge for very different versions of justice, including victim John Hayward's daughter, Catherine.
What should be my best days are now some of my worst, knowing that I should be celebrating with my dad. Birthdays, weddings, family reunions, graduations, new jobs, changes, and new beginnings. He should be here.
News Channel 3's Lauren Coronado, who is also live in Riverside tonight, gathering reaction outside of the courtroom there. Lauren.
Yeah, what an emotional day. This case lasting more than a decade. Now, I was outside the courtroom and I spoke with the defendant's family just moments ago, I'd say about 15 minutes ago, and they're really standing by both Pape and Smith, explaining that this entire case has been biased from the beginning. They even said from the district attorney all the way down to the judge, they were not happy with what happened today. And they say it's been the case all along, of course, saying that their sons are innocent. We also spoke with Becky Friedley's dad earlier today, and he's very happy with today's sentence.
I think it was great. It was much better than I even anticipated. I really thought that Kristen would have the possibility of parole after age 60, and I'm glad to see that he wasn't. I believe they are 100% guilty, and they know it. They keep telling everybody they're innocent, because as long as their family believes in them and they keep telling everyone they're innocent, they believe there's always a chance that they might get out. That is their only hope.
Yeah, and going back to that, for the first time, the defendants were more open to speaking with the media. I was here a few weeks ago at the last case, and they weren't so open to talking to media. But today, it sounds like they really want to get their word across tonight. Now, of course, we have a lot more reaction to share with you guys. We'll bring you more at 6 o'clock right here on News Channel 3. Reporting live in Riverside, Lauren Coronado, News Channel 3.
Okay, Lauren, you just get busy there, because we'll hear from you a little later tonight. Thank you so much. And, of course, stay with News Channel 3 for continuing coverage on the Pinyon Pines triple murder trial. You can hear more courtroom statements made today by the victims' families and from the defendants themselves on KESQ.com. Also breaking tonight, the Holy Fire to the west of the valley continuing its fierce burn across Orange and Riverside counties. It's now chewed up 18,000 acres in the Cleveland National Forest, and it's only 5% contained at this hour. Today, the man accused of starting the fire appearing in a Santa Ana courtroom, Forrest Gordon Clark. He made an animated appearance marked by several outbursts today. He labeled the arson charges against him a lie and insisted he was being threatened. Meantime, News Channel 3's Alex Cheney is live in Lake Elsinore near the firefight. He brings us more on evacuations and interviews with people who refuse to leave. Alex.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. So we're live in Lake Elsinore right now. We just come up right by Lincoln Street, actually near Lake Elsinore, which is actually just over my shoulder right now. You can also see that pink roof that has been stained by the fire retardant. A couple structures were threatened earlier today as we were watching flames coming over that hillside you see just in front of you, and also a new plume of some darker black smoke actually popping up within the last 2 minutes or so as my photographer and I have been standing here. We also see some mop up towards our left as well, so you can see just how far those flames actually came down, and they were maybe about just 50 yards from a lot of homes and structures that are now just behind us. Earlier today, we also spoke to a few people who refused to leave this area.
Well, normally this time of year isn't so windy, but with the winds going and blowing the flames into the direction of the fuel, it was quite scary. It would hit some trees, and you could hear it down here. You could feel it down here. The popping and the crackling that was going on up there. It was quite a sight.
And all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's fire trucks at the top of our house. Great.
Yeah, it escalated.
So yeah, it definitely escalated a lot faster than I was expecting.
We saw several planes and helicopters dropping fire retardant on the area, at least 2 planes doing that, and all the water that those helicopters are dropping is actually coming from Lake Elsinore itself. We're actually going to check out that dark plume of smoke that we just saw coming up in a few minutes here as these firefighters still try to mop up in the area. I can actually see those flames actually just through that gate just a little bit to the right of our area. But as Karen just told you, the Holy Fire really just expanding to thousands and thousands of acres burning in the Cleveland National Forest, that right on the county line between Orange and Riverside. We'll continue to bring you some live updates throughout the rest of the night. Reporting live in Lake Elsinore, I'm Alex Cheney, News Channel 3.
Yeah, certainly a dangerous fire happening there. Some schools evacuated this afternoon. We will have more on that, as Alex said. Well, some good news regarding the Cranston Fire that got dangerously close to downtown Idlewild. We've learned it's now fully contained tonight. The fire, which started July 25th, burned more than 13,000 acres in the San Bernardino National Forest and was sparked by an alleged arsonist, 32-year-old Brandon McGlover. 3 firefighters were injured. More than 1,000 fire personnel from across the state helped at the height of the firefight. Dozens of firefighters remain on patrol mopping up hot spots. At 6 o'clock, we will hear from a man who lost his home in the fire and how he's trying to move forward. Well, weather-wise, firefighters are still feeling the heat, of course, and right here, we're feeling that humidity. It seems to be sticking around. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen tracking your conditions. And Haley, tell me we're going to get some kind of relief this weekend.
We are going to be getting slightly drier as we head into this weekend, but for the rest of this evening, that humidity going to be staying in place. Relative humidity values 20-30% out there. This is exactly what we've been feeling for the past several days and what we felt for several weeks this summer season alone. Now, right now when we're looking at our satellite and radar, not a whole lot to track, just a few light showers right around San Gorgonio Mountain. Earlier on this morning, there was a nice little storm that passed through the Coachella Valley. The highest rainfall total for our valley floor coming in thermal at just over 1/10 of an inch. But like I said, we are going to be getting a little bit drier as we head into the weekend. Despite drying out slightly, we're still going to be keeping a slight chance for those storms with us even into the weekend, just because there is a large amount of moisture not only in our atmosphere but surrounding us. So our winds are going to be playing a big role in what we feel. I'll break it down in my first alert forecast.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Haley. Communities in Virginia and Washington, D.C. preparing for potential violence ahead of the anniversary of the Unite the Right rally last year in Charlottesville.
We know that we have people coming to our city for the sole purpose of spewing hate.
Next on News Channel 3, what is being done to make sure the possible white nationalist rallies do not get out of hand? Plus an update on last night's police incident involving pepper spray in downtown Palm Springs. And a man accused of setting a house on fire and attempting to murder another person earlier this week in court today. What he pleaded to those charges against him. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. Communities are bracing for potential violence ahead of the anniversary of the deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Tensions reached a fever pitch as counter-protesters clashed with demonstrators as white nationalists and neo-Nazis protesting the removal of a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee last year. Demonstrations are planned for the one-year anniversary of the Unite the Right rally. Officials bracing for that violence. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser has denounced the hate groups that are heading to Washington.
We know that we have people coming to our city for the sole purpose of spewing hate. We, the people of Washington, D.C., say unequivocally that we denounce hate.
Airbnb is warning it may expel anyone attending the alt-right rally. Some businesses in downtown D.C. are even prepared to be closed during the rallies. We have new details on last night's incident in Palm Springs near Village Fest. We brought you this story live as it was breaking right here on News Channel 3 at 11. Just after 10, police responded to an initial call of a fight on the 100 block of South Pond Canyon. Police say Dylan Cook used pepper spray to steal a cell phone from a passerby. Cook was quickly caught and arrested by police. Several bystanders who were in the area were affected by the unlawful pepper spray use. Those who remained in the area were treated on scene by Palm Springs fire personnel. Cook was booked for robbery, assault with caustic chemical, inflicting injury on a child, and false identification to a police officer. Meantime, a Cathedral City resident pled not guilty today to attempted murder and arson charges. 25-year-old Miguel Espino is accused of assaulting and seriously injuring a man and leaving him to die inside a burning Desert Hot Springs home. Now, that fire started around 7 Tuesday night on Palm Drive. Authorities discovered a badly injured man inside the home suffering from traumatic injuries. The man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. No word tonight on his condition. Arson investigators believe Espino set the fire intentionally after assaulting the other man. Well, a local student is not in school due to overcrowding.
It is frustrating as a mom because to me it's like every day, that she does not attend school, is taking away from, her education.
Next on News Channel 3, we have reaction from the parent about why her daughter is not being allowed to attend.
Right now, 105 in Palm Springs with clear skies being reported, but if you step outside, you're still going to be seeing that haze, or what looks like a haze. We just have a lot of moisture in our air. Dew point temperatures in the 60s and 70s all throughout the Coachella Valley. My complete first alert forecast is coming up next, and we're looking ahead at the weekend. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Back to school can be an exciting time for kids and parents, but for some local families this year, that's not the case. PAC schools in Palm Springs Unified have more than a dozen students on hold. News Channel 3's Sarah Trott spoke with one family who was in limbo, their child not starting school earlier this week with nowhere to go. Sarah.
Well, Karen, a third grader we met with today is at home instead of at school with her classmates, and her mom says miscommunication with the district is causing her daughter to fall behind. A new school year is full of firsts, new friends, fresh starts, even photo ops.
As a mom, I wasn't able to, enjoy the first day of school, like most parents.
But also a first for mom Cindy Aponte.
We got her ready. She had her backpack. She was really excited. She was really happy. And then come to find out that she wasn't allowed to stay.
Daughter Jocelyn is supposed to be starting third grade.
I just buttered up my child, hey, you're going to go to school, and now I'm telling her, I'm sorry, you can't stay. And she was sad. She did cry.
Instead, she was turned away on her first day from Della S. Lindley Elementary in Thousand Palms.
The day before school started, we got a phone call stating that my daughter's registration was placed on hold because they were max capacity and that they couldn't, bring in any more children.
The school telling her to bring her child anyway in case spots opened up.
It made me sad because I was so excited to go to school, and they said they don't have any rooms for me, and I was so sad.
Cindy Aponte's family lives just minutes away from DLS, within the school's boundaries. Although she recently transferred her kids from a different school, Aponte says she worked with the district to enroll her kids on time.
They told me to go ahead and file the paperwork, already. The earlier the better, so I did.
That paperwork filed on the same day. Her older daughter, Haley, a 5th grader at DLS, was able to stay.
There's so many people that bully kids and, make fun of them, and that's kind of like the seed that, it starts right there, just first impressions, in school is, to these kids are, they're everything.
As time is ticking to get back to school. A spokesperson from Palm Springs Unified says this happens at the beginning of every school year. They said Student Staff Services is working quickly to place all the families in neighborhood schools. After contacting the district this morning, we learned that that Jocelyn will be able to go to school on Monday. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Sarah Trott.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen.
Not seeing a whole lot of activity at this hour across our desert. Just some light showers out a little bit closer to I-40 and then around San Gorgonio Mountain. A different story as we made our way through the early morning hours of this Friday. We had a line of severe thunderstorms working its way across the Arizona border and then across the high desert, weakening, not being as severe, but still bringing heavy rain. But right now, again, we've cleared out nicely. Still going to be talking about the chance for monsoonal showers as well as storms throughout the next couple of days. But looking back over the past 24 hours, here's a check on some of those rainfall totals. The heaviest rain keeping itself closer to the border. Blythe at the airport, 0.7 of an inch. The area with the highest rainfall total here in the Coachella Valley coming in thermal at just over 0.1 of an inch. But the rest of us all seeing 0.03 of an inch, 0.02 of an inch, 1/100th of an inch. Very light rain for the majority of the Coachella Valley, just enough to dirty your car once again. When we're looking at our Toro Peak Skycam, it's not a whole lot to actually look at. You don't see a whole lot of the Coachella Valley at all. We're still dealing with that haze, with those muggy conditions out there. Look at our dew point temperatures right now, 60s and 70s all across the Coachella Valley floor. That puts our relative humidity values 20–30%, exactly what we've been experiencing throughout the majority of this week. Temperatures right now 105 in Palm Springs. The high this afternoon came in at 106, and thermal, the high was 108. These are very seasonable temperatures. This is what we would love to have this time of year. We would just like those dew point temperatures, of course, to be lower as well. So looking ahead at our futurecast as we make our way throughout the rest of tonight and into the weekend, we're still going to be dealing with those surges of moisture coming in across the desert. So the opportunity for more nocturnal thunderstorms to develop is going to be monitored, especially through tonight and into Saturday night as well. As we begin to see those shifts push our way, eventually our wind will be shifting and that will cut off our supply of monsoonal moisture. But through the weekend, we are keeping that slight chance intact. But check out those temperatures. Not too shabby as we head through each evening. Expect those winds to get a little bit gusty, but by Monday, we're talking much drier conditions, at least through the middle of the next work week. Karen?
Great. That's great news. Thank you, Haley. Well, KESQ's Pack the Bus event yesterday was a huge success. Find out how many school supplies were donated to local school kids. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. KESQ's donation drive to pack the bus and collect school supplies for kids in need, a huge success. The Coachella Valley Housing Coalition wasted no time today in giving away the hundreds of backpacks and school supplies collected in Palm Desert at the Walmart. They'll go to a number of locations over the next 2 weeks. They will be going from La Quinta to Mecca to distribute the approximately 900 backpacks.
Yeah, it was great from the beginning. First couple hours, the backpacks started rolling in. People even came in to drop off donations, and we did the shopping for them. So it was a great start.
Again, we partnered with Sunline Transit Agency to make this happen. More than 1,000 children are expected to benefit directly from this event, and we can't thank the community enough for coming out yesterday all day long from 5 in the morning till 6 at night, bringing all the goodies for the kids that need to go back to school. And you can see there, using some containers for pens and pencils. It was a wide variety of things. Well, weather-wise, it's tough to be outside.
It certainly is. So kudos to everyone who went out and spent the time donating because, yeah, it was hot and it was humid. And today, more of the same. Well, guess what? We get to do it. More of the same tomorrow. But tomorrow, everything becoming much more isolated towards our mountains, the higher deserts, getting drier by Sunday, and then even drier on Monday.
Well, that's good. More reaction to the Pinyon Pines triple murder sentencing at 6.